As part of LEED Sustainable Design, this is presented to you by Dyke-Zegarski for my final project in sustainable architecture. Part of the integrative process begins at the pre-design and running through the entire process, where you model, document, and report energy modeling, budget analysis of energy and water, and put it as part of the basis of your designs for your documents. The next stage of credit receiving is location and transportation, which falls under the neighborhood development. And for that, I have gained several credits for location and transportation. They would be as a sensitive land protection, as I gained a credit using a previously developed site, and surrounding density and diverse uses, where I gained 2 credit for meeting the surrounding ability to have lots of people in a small area with varied businesses. I also have access to quality transit, where I have enough public transportation located close by to gain all these credits, and bicycle facilities, where I'm installing 2 shower bath units in the lowest level with a bike rack room for occupants to meet this credit requirement. I'm also going to have a green vehicle credit, where I designed the building to be up higher, and the first floor will gain parking, so these can be installed for electrical charging stations and preferred parking. For the sustainable sites concept, I also have the prerequisite of needing to install site protection. And for this, I would install silt fence, as this would prevent any contamination outside the site. For the sustainable sites, you have site assessment, which I would hire a survey company to provide the required information and documentation. They would be doing site development to protect or restore habitat. And I can also have them provide all kinds of information included in that. Part of the credit there is open space, where 30% of the site will be used as green space and available for recreational use, which you can see by this photo does that. Site development is also part of restore and protect the habitat, and it would be restored using a rain garden with native plants, which would also help protect wildlife after restoring it. For the rainwater management credits, I would gain the ability of having 3 credits for also not only water drainage control, but the rain garden and the cistern to capture water for reuse. As a heat island reduction credit, I would install a white TPO roof membrane and solar panels to help shade the roof as well. For the light pollution reduction, I would be installing downward-facing LED bollard lights and LED building lights that also face downward, which will help prevent light pollution. Part of the water efficiency part of the LEED credit accreditation is preventing water from running off your property. So for this, I would be installing a beautiful rain garden, and here are many of the plants that are also very high on the list that are hard to come by and are natural plants in the area. As those prerequisites, I would be required to have an indoor water use reduction, which is a water sense label fixtures, outdoor water use reduction, where I provide vegetation that doesn't need irrigation, and I also have a rock garden that won't need water. Any water I will need outside will be from the cistern. I also need to install water metering. Matter of fact, I need 3 meters and 5 years of reporting to cover this credit. I'm not covering the cooling tower, however, because I found my project to be too small for that. For the energy and atmosphere aspect of LEED accreditation, I also have my prior prerequisite of fundamental commissioning and verification, where I would hire a third-party commissioning agent to perform the work and provide the documentation needed. I would also have building level energy meeting to meet this credit. I'd also have my electrical contractor install metering systems to meet that credit. Minimum energy performance rating, which is where all my appliance comes in, and the electrical company can provide the documentation for that. And I also have fundamental refrigerant management, and this would be provided by my HVAC contractor as a requirement for the installation of his materials. For enhanced commissioning, I'd hire a second outside commissioning agency to validate all current and ongoing information. optimizing energy performance, you'd have your electrical contractor provide documentation, which you would compare everything, document everything, update that information, and track and submit it. But it also includes installing 150 solar light panels, and that goes towards my renewable energy production, where I gain 3 credits. I was looking to have a solar-powered roof, but I might just have them on the roof. But either way, I did raise the building an additional story to give me the option of this if I wish. For the enhanced refrigeration management point, I have the HVAC and R systems that have no CFCs or other harmful chemicals, and that information is again provided by the HVAC company. For the advanced energy metering, I would have the electrical contractor install metering devices for the solar panel and battery units, as well as continually provide the metering information needed to monitor it. I'd also have a battery-powered backup to assist with this. For the green power and carbon offsets, I would be creating my own energy and selling it back to the local grid, which nets me green RECs, which can be documented as green power. For the materials and resources department, I would be having storage and collection of recyclables as a prerequisite of at least 4 types of bins and document their use. I'd also have construction demolition waste management planning, where I can develop and implement a construction demolition waste management plan. Building life disclosure and optimization, environmental product declarations, I get 2 points, where I could have all this documentation provided to me by my subcontractors. I would also have my certified environmental product declaration and my sourcing of raw materials for post-consumer materials. And they would all be kept well documented. As part of this, I would also have my construction and demolition waste management submit the documentation and for recycling, reuse, and adhere to those requirements. As a building life cycle impact reduction, I would remove and install a minimum of 50% of the building materials used on site and or install reclaimed materials from local contractors. There's a lot of materials out there, and these will also help with my acoustical properties. For the indoor environmental quality, I would have to meet as a prerequisite ASHRAE standard 62.1, which is typically the basis for design of all HVAC systems. That includes air monitoring and environmental tobacco smoke control as a prerequisite. For the enhanced indoor air quality strategies, I would include airflow testing, filter installation, and entrance mat to prevent pollutions from coming into the structure. I would also have low emitting materials or low VOCs, with the exclusion of those, to create, submit, and follow a construction indoor management plan, and in it perform an indoor quality air assessment, which is a test, and make corrections as needed. For thermal comfort, I would require the HVAC contractor to meet those requirements of standard ASHRAE 55, and set a set of standards for the indoor environmental conditions to achieve acceptable thermal comfort for occupants of buildings. For interior lighting, I would require the electrical contractor to supply and submit documentation to meet the roof's requirements, along with the installation of LED lighting with dimmer switches. I would also have installed light shelves, blinds, and interior colors to balance out the credits requirements. For the quality views, I would install a curtain wall around the majority of the structure for optimal site visual beautification. And the rain garden will help this, as well as the river view. And any interior walls would be glass, so it will not only assist with the acoustical properties, but bring in a great deal of daylight. But as part of the innovation qualities, I did not chase down any additional methods or innovative ways that aren't already mentioned, as I didn't see for such a small project that was going to be really needed. I'm also going to have a principal participant of an accredited path to help me determine if I'm following the right path. Here's my actual structure itself. This is a rendering that I did on Revit. You have the southeast views where you can see the exterior glazing shows steps located next to the elevator shaft. And you can enter the building from two sides. And the entire office, as you can see, except for where the elevator shaft is and the stairs are exterior glazing. Most likely it's going to be curtain wall, but it'll help support the structure as well. It just doesn't show that here. The one corner of the building that will retain the most heat is the southwest corner, and you can tell that that is where I decided to place the stairwell and the elevator shaft with a brick exterior. And you can see the ultimate floor plan layout. Here you have the very first floor where there's an elevator shaft and parking, as well as a bike rack. The second story, elevator shaft, stairs, utilities, kitchen, bathrooms, storage. And the third story, which is also stairs, elevator shaft, vestibules, and storage here, here, and 2 restrooms. As part of my prerequisite credits, I got 7 of 9 for location, 10 out of 10 for sustainable sites. I got 7 out of 11 for water efficiency, 32 for energy and atmosphere out of 33, 8 out of 13 materials and resources, 13 out of 16 indoor environmental quality, and a total of 82 credits, which is not what I was trying to reach, but it seemed rather easily after it was all said and done. Sustainable design needs to be sustainable now. Humans on Earth are running out of resources, and if we don't start creating sustainable design, we are not going to have enough resources to support ourselves on this planet. It needs to be, and will not be a fad, but it needs to continue being part of our way of life, because when we run out of resources, we are not going to be able to be sustained. It is the only option for the survival of our species. Thank you.